Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. So the last time I believe I uploaded, I was about 35 to 36 weeks pregnant, if that. I had my baby at 37 weeks pregnant and 4 days to be absolutely precise. I knew that my child would not wait until her due date, which was the 12th of December, but that is okay because we're here and she is healthy and happy, and that's all that, you know, is really important to me. I also have this little headband on because, hey, it's coming up to Christmas and why not celebrate with a reindeer headband today? So that is why I'm wearing that, and I probably look really festive at the moment. Look, I had my baby, everything was going really well. It's just that with life, nothing is ever really planned the way you expect it to, and so that's what I'm here to share with you today, is my pregnancy story. Yes, you've been following my pregnancy journey up to, you know, my delivery date, but the days leading up to that were a little bit all over the place, to the point that I didn't actually know whether my water was breaking, whether I was just producing more discharge, which does happen with pregnant women. That is not unusual, it's very normal. But not being able to decipher between the two, getting tests, things like that, I was really unsure as to when I was going to be delivering my daughter Celeste. So yes, I ended up having a baby girl, which is amazing. And I'm just such a happy mum, and her dad is so proud as well. But in this case, I'm just going to share with you my side of the story about how the pregnancy happened. And, you know, if you've got any questions, obviously you can comment below. I'll see your comments and feedback, and, you know, I can chat to you about it. Thursday, the 25th of November was the day I went into labor. So the really interesting thing about that is I was having an ultrasound, I believe, on that date, and I remember having this ultrasound, feeling a little bit like the person that was helping me with my ultrasound wasn't exactly very clear to tell me what was going on in my belly. I was basically checking my fluids. Okay, so that week I had been back to hospital to check twice. The first time round I found out that it was, you know, negative. I was just producing a lot of discharge. The second time round I was also negative, but I do feel that day I was starting to open up, if that makes sense. So you guys may have heard of the mucus plug. I think something like that was happening. It wasn't very clear. Again, I'd had a test and I was tested negative that my waters were breaking, but my body was definitely feeling a lot more sore below, and I wore a pad, and I think that's a really great point to make. So if you are a, you know, expectant mother for the first time, it's good to keep your maternal pads on, just so you can keep track yourself of what's going on downstairs. And it could be that you're producing, again, lots of discharge. Your mucus plug has unplugged itself, and therefore you're noticing a fair bit of pink coloring. That's what I had in my case. Water breaking, however, I didn't experience that because I actually started having something happen, but my waters didn't fully break themselves. I actually had my midwife do that. I know that sounds really weird, and trust me, it felt really odd, but because I was 5 centimeters dilated when I went to hospital through labor, it was getting to a point where I needed some help to break my waters, and my baby was getting ready to come out. So let's backtrack again. Thursday, the 25th of November was the day I had my ultrasound, and it was the same day that I went into labor. Okay, And a lot of people don't really know what to expect when they're, expectant mothers. What emotions or even physicality do you feel? As I said, I wasn't really 100% sure what was going on with my body that day, but I do remember that the feelings of going into labor are having just this sensation where I literally could not stand up in the bathroom to have a shower. My body wanted to have a shower and I was on all fours like a cat or a dog. And I remember during dinner time, I was also feeling, I wanted to go out because we had booked to go out for dinner that night. Funny how that happens. And we weren't able to go out to dinner because myself and my body said that's just not going to happen tonight. You are not in any position to go out to dinner. So little signs like that were starting to perk up when I was having dinner at home because we ordered food in. I did eat in my bedroom and I had my husband to assist me. I was just, again, on all fours like a cat or a dog, feeling like I was having to breathe a lot, and then I was starting to feel like I usually talk to my husband about everything. I'd also been in touch with my mother as well on the phone because she doesn't live in the same place as me. Probably mentioned that in another video. And so I was just noting down my contractions because I felt like that's what was actually going on. So another thing to mention here is that contractions aren't specifically what people say they are. Like, they're intense because, they're supposed to be different to Braxton Hicks, which are these so-called fake contractions. The contractions I was having, yeah, they did feel like overwhelming. Like, I guess the best way to describe it is a really heavy period pain in your back. So I was feeling it in my back, I was feeling it in my belly, and I was having to breathe a lot. I have a gym ball, so I was leaning on that to help me, breathe through everything. And then noting down these contractions, the whole idea is when you have 3 in 10 minutes that are very intense, that is pretty much a sign that you go to hospital. What I do feel really great though about my birth story is that I had my labor at night. I don't know what it's like to have it during the day or first thing in the morning, but in my mind, I actually imagined that it was going to be better at nighttime, and then I did. So it started dinner time. My mother-in-law was here as well to help support me with my back because my husband went out to get, Panadol to help if the pain was too excruciating. I think it was just a really heavy period pain. That's the best way for me to share it with you if you aren't sure what to expect when you're a first-time mum. And we got to a point where the contractions were getting a lot closer together, and possibly 3 in 10 minutes. So I remember asking my husband to call my midwife because that is the protocol. You call them first just to make sure that this is what's going on. And because I'd asked him to call her, that to me was an indication that obviously this pain was so much that I couldn't talk to her on the phone and tell her what was going on. So the two of us pretty much got to the hospital as soon as the phone call had been made. Greg was quite certain that, I was ready to go in and he was ready to help me out. My mother-in-law stayed at home, so that was really great. She was there for extra support. When we got to the hospital, I must admit that We didn't think about taking a lift upstairs when we pretty much could have done that. We went up the stairs to the maternity ward, but that's okay. There was a doctor behind us and he said we could have used the lift, and I'm just laughing about this because he was laughing at us. He thought we were so silly, like how if we're, you know, having a baby, why is it that we're walking up the stairs and not taking the lift? But you know what, sometimes when you are just trying to get somewhere, you don't actually think, you just do. And I think that's what was happening in our case. So we just walked up the stairs, we got to the top, and the doctor said, you know, you could have used the lift. Yeah, great, we didn't, that's fine. We got up anyway, we were fine. And then I saw my midwife, and you know, she was really helpful. Had to give me these so-called vaginal exams, and I don't consider them to be comfortable, but I think it's just, you know, they have to do that to make sure that they know how dilated you are at that time. So by the time I got to the hospital, it was 5 centimeters, which is halfway. To be able to deliver a baby, you've got to get up to at least 10 centimeters. Like that's like the full amount to, you know, have room for the head to come out. So I was 5 centimeters, and then maybe a couple of hours or so after that, it ended up being 8 centimeters. I still wasn't there, and I think by that point my waters were broken so that I could contract even more and sort of you know, more intense, so that I could actually push for my baby. And I had made a plan about that, and can I just be honest with you guys who do make plans, please just remember that plans are there so that you feel comfortable knowing with what's going on, but don't ever consider a plan to be that's the way it's going to be on the day, because babies are unpredictable. And I think at the end of the day, what you really want to be able to tell everybody is that you and your child, you know, came out really well from the birth. You're both healthy and you're both safe. You don't want to be telling people, oh, I followed the plan, but you know, the plan just was stressful or challenging or whatever. So I had a plan of having a water birth, and I was really excited about it. But I also had this thought in the back of my mind that, look, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, I'm okay with that, because I know I've got really supportive people around me. And as long as myself and my baby are safe, it doesn't matter that we didn't follow the plan. It started off really well with contractions well, I got up to 6 hours, and you know, there are people out there who say, oh, I've done 10 hours, I've done 16, I've done 40 hours. I mean, that's a long time to go through contractions. 6 hours was getting tricky for me, because it was to do with my daughter. Her heartbeat was getting a little slower, so you know, there was that in mind. And the umbilical cord was tangled, and she's a little baby, so it was a case of having to act fast. And I remember the doctor coming in to ask me, and that's the great thing about where I was, the hospital that I had my baby at, is that I didn't feel pressured to make a decision. I was asked if I'd be okay with a C-section, and I said yes. I was ready by that time. 6 hours of contractions, I was so ready to have my baby with a C-section. And a lot of people, can I just say this, because you might be watching this and you might be a first-time mum and thinking, oh my goodness, no way, I don't want a C-section. You know what, there was a part of me that felt like that as well. I didn't really want a C-section, but I'm gonna say I was so happy to be able to have that opportunity to choose what I wanted. And by that point in time with the contractions, I think the C-section was such a blessed choice. I chose it straight away without hesitation, thinking to myself, yeah, this is what I want, and I'm great with that. Just give it to me. And you know, I'm not a fan of needles, and so I got myself an anesthetic in my back, but I was good with it. You know, the contractions were harder for me than choosing to accept a needle. So I took the needle, I was, you know, laid down, and then I couldn't feel anything below. So, you know, I was pretty numb, and before I knew it, I had this beautiful child being shown to me. She's making some noise in the room next door. Such an amazing feeling. It was like hard to feel like happy or sad at the time because I was numb. You know, I'd had so many drugs put into me that I just couldn't think straight, and that's okay. That's just like how it happens. But knowing that I had these drugs and I was going to be looked after really well and all that sort of stuff, it just didn't bother me. I was just, you know, it was good. It worked out really well. My husband wasn't able to be with me for the first 15 or 20 minutes. They asked him to wait in the waiting room, and I think on his behalf he was a little concerned, but that's to be expected. And I had been told by one of the doctors that I would see him when everything was getting settled. So believe it or not, I think because I was drugged, I wasn't really thinking straight, so I just thought, yeah, whatever, great, whenever he could come in, that's great. You know, he did. He came in when things were calmer. The baby was out, and you know, she made it quite clear that she was here. She's not a quiet baby. When she wants something or needs something, she will tell everybody. This is how I feel, and I love that about her, which is amazing. But I just want to say that, yeah, look, my husband was able to come and be with me. My baby was measured, and I'm also very thankful that she was a weight that passed the threshold, because if she was a little bit under, I'd have to go to a nursery to continually visit her and feed her. But she was able to come out and be with me and my husband, and that's just, yeah, I can't even like describe to you how fantastic that is. So we were very blessed that she was able to be with us, and we, you know, were together for the next 3 or 4 days, because when you have a C-section, they don't rush you home. They expect you to sort of stay in hospital just for a couple of days to recover. Again, if you're one of those people who is like anti C-section or thinks it's scary and takes a long time to recover, well, I'm very fortunate that I had a great doctor. So they gave me clean cuts. I had dissolvable stitches, so everything was really taken care of. Of course, my stomach was checked by all the midwives, the doctors regularly. Yes, I had a bit of pain, but you know, that's normal because it's a cut in your body. But the body is incredible. If you believe in it and you know that your body can heal from anything, then that's exactly what it will do. I did have to take painkillers, but that's okay, because obviously I wasn't going to be able to handle the pain by itself. With the painkillers, I took what I felt necessary. I probably did take a fair bit while I was in hospital as opposed to coming home, but you know, I haven't really considered taking them since. And you know, my baby's 2 weeks old. Fantastic. When we were in hospital, I had a catheter. It was the second day that they asked if I would be willing to take it out. Again, it was just a question. They said, if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. You know what? I said, yeah, let's do it. Let's get it out so I can get up and I can walk, because I like having the control. Not to mention that I also had leggings on, and I also had to have what they call, it's a type of, I needed a needle in my thigh. They give you a choice of your thigh or your stomach, but I think in hospital they just go ahead and do your thigh. When you take it home though, that's when you choose whether you want to stick it into your stomach or your thigh to stop any blood clotting. But you know, we can move on from that part because I don't take it anymore. I only needed to take it for a couple of days afterwards, really, if that, 10 days. But yeah, I had leggings on to sort of help with my body and my blood circulation. I did have to get a blood transfusion and an iron transfusion as my blood loss was a little high, and I am a red blood type, which is B positive. So they, you know, needed to help me with that. But again, after I had those two things together, like my blood transfusion one day and the iron transfusion the next day, I was great. Things were getting back to normal. I feel great. Of course, there have been a couple of things since I've come home where it's been a little bit funny to the point where it's like I was in pain laughing or coughing due to my wound, and also like my body being different. Having a baby, your organs move to make space for a baby, and then after you have your baby, they go back to being, you know, where they were before. And when they're going through that stage, it can feel a little bit funny. I still have that funny feeling, but now when I laugh, I don't feel like pieces of me are flapping all over the place, which is really good to see. Look, I'm laughing now and I feel fine. I'm really getting myself back to normal, and I'm just so blessed to be here to share this with you guys and to inspire you as well, so that if you are a first-time mum, really it's such an amazing thing and you can embrace that, because I did. I think that when you are going through a stage of being a first-time mum, of course you're going to be overwhelmed with emotions. What do I do about this? What if I don't know this? What is, you know, what am I to expect really? And there is no right answer of what to expect, but I think the best thing you can do is take advantage of all the support that you can get. The support that you get from your significant other, your family members, your people at the hospital, you know, they're all there to give you the best possible help that you can. And you know, it was nice actually having a C-section, staying in the hospital longer. I liked it because I didn't feel rushed. I felt like, oh, I can take my time to heal. I can, you know, not have to think about cooking because people are cooking for me, and that's nice. And I like being able to choose what I want to eat every day. I had people coming to visit as well. My friend Naomi came to visit and she gave us flowers and something else, as you know, we'd actually organized to have a baby shower on the 27th of November, but I was still in hospital that day, so of course that wasn't going to happen. She came over and she, you know, gave that to us, and it was just lovely. And she also got a chance to hold Celeste as well. And I just think that there couldn't have been a better story to tell about how my pregnancy went. And so with that in mind, in case you're wondering, oh my gosh, now that you've had a C-section, does that mean that you can't have any more children? Actually, I can have more children. And I've been told by my midwife that it's more than likely, because I've had a baby already, that I could probably go through and have a vaginal birth next time and not even, you know, have a C-section again. So it's great. I do hope that this video has been helpful to you guys. I know it's a lot of talking, not a lot of pictures and, you know, things that you can see about what happened in the past, but I'm just really happy that things have worked out really well, and I'll do my best to see if I can sort of upload any photos for you guys to see of us and our baby. And we did the very best that we could, you know, at the time, and we brought back a beautiful child that both Greg and I are absolutely obsessed with, and she's growing really well every day. And now it's our time to just really enjoy her and be with her, knowing that she's going to grow up into an amazing person, and you know, just making the most of it every day. So make sure that you're doing that with your children as well. I know that might sound a little cliche because, you know, if you've had that many children, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, like they drive me crazy, and I sometimes just want to have some time to myself and stuff like that. And I think you can have time to yourself. You just gotta make that time to yourself. But also remember that you need to have that time to yourself so that you can have that time with them, because they look up to you. Thanks for watching. Again, if you got any questions about my birth story, then feel free to ask. I'm just going to chip in and say that Celeste arrived 37 weeks, which is full term for a single baby. So I was quite happy that she arrived at that time, no sooner. I think when people have babies and they get to the 40 weeks and days over that, it can be quite stressful or, you know, frustrating because they're waiting and waiting and waiting. So I'm just thankful that I didn't get to that point of feeling like, oh my gosh, maybe I need to get induced and hurry this baby along. But I also feel that with Greg and I, we're very sort of relaxed people, and the universe is going to deliver our baby when the time was right for us, and that was perfect timing for us.